You just never know where life is going to lead you. That's certainly the case for our next guest.
Yeah, he grew up in Crisfield, joined the U.S. Air Force, and then traveled the world. Now he's a children's book author. Today, Douglas Berry is joining us via Zoom from his home all the way in South Carolina. First of all, Doug, thank you for your service. What did you do in the Air Force?
Oh, well, thanks so much for having me today. I was a weapons system specialist in the Air Force, which means I loaded bombs, rockets, and munitions on the A-10 and F-16 and maintained the weapons system, so when the pilot pulled that pickle button, stuff came off the plane.
Oh, wow. That sounds like an interesting job. So I got to ask you, how did you go from armament systems specialist in the military to children's book author?
Growing up, you know, with 20 years in the Air Force, we raised 2 kids, and I loved reading books to them. And the whole time I'm reading books and they're growing up, I'm thinking, it's like, you know, I bet I could write a children's book. But it just seemed like I read so many books, it's like, what else is there left to write about? And then my son, when he was about 10 years old, he's 24 now, he caught a rabbit in the backyard and brought it in the house overnight. We let it go the next day, and he actually named it Jasper. And I looked at my wife and I said, what was the rabbit's perspective from this little trip it took? And would his little woodland friends even believe him when he went back outside? And it's like, there's the idea. That's the book.
Yeah, so I have the first book that you wrote, which is The Night I Spent in a People House. Can you talk about this book in particular first?
Yeah, I sure can. That was kind of wild. That's the first book, and it started out as kind of like a nice little family story, and I figured I'd sell like 30 books, and it took off, but it didn't take off huge. But I mean, after it was all said and done, sold 500 copies or so. That was a lot of fun to do, and the process was just kind of crazy. It was kind of cool just to learn the process of how to publish a children's book. There's a lot that goes into it.
I think, yeah, I was curious about that because, you know, you figure it's not like it's not like writing a novel, but you still have, you know, the process of getting it edited and illustrations and all of that.
Folks probably thought I was crazy. The publisher came back and said, well, the story's great, everything looks good, but we need some input for the illustrator. What do you want on each page? And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, wow, I didn't really even think of that. And so then I got thinking, it's like, well, wait a minute, I live in a house. So I took my phone and I held it about knee high, about rabbit high, and was taking pictures inside the house and out in the backyard and down the road. Sending those pictures off to the illustrator and telling them what I wanted to have done there.
Trying to get a rabbit's perspective.
Yeah, that's actually really, really cool. My question now is, what did your kids think of this second book?
Oh, they thought it was pretty cool. My daughter's actually a teacher, 4th grade teacher. She's got a master's degree. And so she thought it was cool. Her kids love them. And my son thinks it's cool. He's kind of along for the ride because he kind of, you know, he started all this mess, you know, so it's really cool.
So your second book, Jasper, is continuing in a series here. This is called A Day at the Beach with Jasper and Friends. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it was going to be one and done because, you know, my perspective on the deal. But after I sold so many books, everybody's like, well, what's Jasper going to do next? I'm like, well, I've given it zero thought. Didn't think there was going to be a second one. So I got thinking, and it's like, well, we love to go to Myrtle Beach on vacation. So why doesn't Jasper find a way to find himself at the beach? So him and all his little woodland buddies go out there and check it out.
That's awesome.
Did you have to take a rabbit? Did you have to take a rabbit to the beach to get the perspective?
Well, we did use some of the pictures I took over at Myrtle Beach. I sent some of those to the illustrator, and I don't know if you've looked through the book yet or not, but you'll see some little Easter eggs for the Eastern Shore in there. There's a crab character, and there are some ponies on the beach. They're kind of in the background, and he doesn't really talk to them, but they're there.
That's awesome.
So what's next?
Next, again, I thought this was going to be the last one. It was not. So next, Jasper is going to the farm.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. I actually think I'm getting better with each book, so I'm really looking forward to the third one.
Wow. We are so honored that you could spend some time with us via Zoom today talking about your 2 books. The name is Douglas Berry. He's an author originally from Crisfield. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you, Doug.
With the rest of your career.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me. If I can say real quick, hi to my folks and friends back there on the Eastern Shore.
Absolutely. There you
Yeah,
go.
there you
everybody.
go. All right.
Thank you, Doug.